Hello friends, myself Prasad Saka. In this video lecture, we are going to discuss about the next part of chemotherapy. In that, we are going to learn anti-amoebic drugs. Anti-amoebic drugs are the drugs that treat the diseases caused by Entamoeba histolytica. So here, amoebiasis is caused by a bacteria or protozoa called as Entamoeba histolytica. So these are the drugs which are useful in the treatment of infection caused by protozoa Entamoeba histolytica. So amoebiasis usually occurs by fecal contamination of food and water. So the fecal contamination, which consists of amoebic cysts, reaches the intestine, transforms into trophozoites. These trophozoites lives on the surface of colonic mucosa, means in the large intestine, and form cysts that pass into stools, which we call it as luminal cycle. And these trophozoites also invade the mucosa and form amoebic ulcers, acute dysentery, or chronic intestinal amoebiasis. Now let us see the life cycle of entamoeba. So usually trophozoites occasionally pass into the bloodstream, reaches the liver via portal vein, and causes amoebic liver abscesses. Extraintestinal amoebiasis. This is called as extraintestinal amoebiasis. These trophozoites are also present in tissue phase, and also trophozoites and cysts are present in luminal phase. And coming to the life cycle of the entamoeba, here you can see by fecal elimination the cysts and trophozoites which are moved out through feces will enter into the host through by means of fecal contaminated food or water. And this particular cysts which are ingested, cysts means cysts which consists of cysts which consists of four trophozoites which they enter into the intestine. So here they enter into the intestine and they move to the colon. So here we can see the pink colored marks which is the colon, where the Entamoeba histolytica will reside and start to grow. Okay, so here when this cyst enters into the colon, it forms into trophozoites. Where it got trophozoites means they got trophozoites in colon. Here A represents yellow colored markation is there, that is colon. In that colon it gets converted into trophozoites, and these trophozoites upon multiplication they forms into trophozoites and as well as cysts, and this cysts will continue in the colon itself. They will form cysts in the colon itself, which are very infective stages, and this cysts will move out of the host through fecal elimination. Okay, so this is the life cycle of the Entamoeba histolytica, and during its presence in the colon it causes diarrhea. And even they enters into the through portal system, they enters into the liver, lungs and brain. So this is called as extraintestinal diseases or extraintestinal amoebiasis. And coming to the drugs classification of antiamoebic drugs. Antiamoebic drugs, they are classified into two types based on their action. They are tissue amoebicides and luminal amoebicides. Tissue amoebicides again classified into two types. They are both for the treatment of both intestinal and extraintestinal amoebiasis and for extraintestinal amoebiasis. What are those drugs? And in the the drugs which treats both extraintestinal and intestinal amoebiasis are nitronamidazole and alkaloids. In nitromedazoles, the examples are metronidazole and ornidazole, whereas in alkaloids they are emitin and dihydroemitin. Whereas For extraintestinal amoebiasis, we use chloroquine. And in luminal amoebocytes, there are three classes of drugs. They are amides, 8-hydroxyquinolines, and antibiotics. In amides, we use diloxanide furoate, and 8-hydroxyquinolines we use siloquinol, and antibiotics we use tetracyclines. So this is the classification of antiamoebic drugs. So antiamoebic drugs which are of two types. They are based on their site of action. They are tissue amoebicides and luminal amoebicides. In tissue amoebicides, there are again two types. They are the drugs that to treat both extraintestinal and intestinal amoebiasis, and for only extraintestinal amoebiasis. And in both extra and intestinal amoebiasis, we use nitromedazoles like metronidazole or nidazole, whereas alkaloids like emetine and dihydroemetine. And for extraintestinal amoebiasis, we use chloroquine. And in luminal amoebicides, amides like diloxanide furoate, hydroxyquinolines like siloquinol, and antibiotics like tetracyclines. We use these drugs as anti-amoebic drugs. And coming to the use of antiamoebic drugs. So, what are the use of these amoebic drugs, antiamoebic drugs? So, for invasive intestinal amoebiasis, we use metronidazole or tinidazole as first line drugs, whereas secnidazole and ornidazole, we use them as second line of drugs. So they are used in invasive intestinal amoebiasis. For chronic intestinal amoebiasis or asymptomatic cyst passers, means they'll have cysts inside the stomach but they don't have any symptoms, and for them we use diloxanide furoate plus tetracycline, a combination, as first line of drugs, and metronidazole or tinidazole along with tetracycline we use as second line of drugs, and hydrochloroquine, quinoline and tetracycline, a combination, as third choice. And for hepatic amoebiasis, means extraintestinal amoebiasis, we use metronidazole or tinidazole continued with chloroquine. Along with chloroquine, we use both metronidazole and tinidazole. Here we see the doses of antiamoebic drugs. For asymptomatic type of amoebiasis, we use ideoquinol, which for adult it is 650 mg per oral thrice in a day for 20 days. We have to use for 20 days. For pediatrics, 30 to 40 mg per kg per day, maximum 2 grams per oral in 3 doses for 20 days. And diloxanide furoate 500 mg per oral for 10 days in adults, whereas 20 mg per kg per day per oral in 3 doses for 10 days in children. And mild to moderate intestinal disease, we use metronidazole and tinidazole. Metronidazole we use 500 to 750 mg per oral twice a day in 7 to 10 days, for 7 to 10 days, and whereas in children our pediatric dosage 35 to 50 mg per kg per day per oral in 3 doses for 7 to 10 days. Whereas tinidazole we use 2 grams once per oral daily for 3 days for more than 3 years of children. And in pediatrics we use 50 mg per kg per day, maximum 2 grams per oral in single dose for 3 days. And severe intestinal and extraintestinal disease, metronidazole 750 mg per oral 3 times in a day for 7 to 10 days, whereas 35 to 50 mg per day per kg per day per oral in 3 doses for 7 to 10 days. And coming to the metronidazole, widely used antiamoebic drug, and the spectrum of activity is for protozoas like Entamoeba histolytica, Trichomonas, Giardia lamblia. And for anaerobic bacteria like Fusobacterium, Clostridium perfringens, and Helicobacter pylori. And helminths like Dracunculus medinensis. So its mechanism of action, it is selectively toxic to anaerobic organisms. After entering the metronidazole into cell by diffusion, the nitro group, which is reduced by some certain redox proteins present in anaerobic microbes to a highly reactive nitro radical. This nitro radical, which causes damage to DNA, and also it causes DNA helix destabilization and breaks the DNA in the microorganisms. This leads to becomes toxic to the bacteria or else protozoans. And pharmacokinetics, they are completely absorbed from small intestine and very little absorbed and reaches the unabsorbed and reaches the colon. It is widely distributed in body, attaining therapeutic concentration in vaginal secretions, semen, saliva, and even we can find it in CSF. It is metabolized in liver primarily by oxidation and glucuronide conjugation and excreted in urine. It has an half-life of 8 hours. The adverse effects like anorexia, nausea, metallic taste. We feel metallic taste, and it gives abdominal cramps and also induces dry mouth, transient neutropenia, and these are the adverse effects. On prolonged administration, it causes peripheral neuropathy, and even at high doses, it can cause seizures. Thrombophlebitis, it causes thrombophlebitis when injected through veins. Without dilution, if it is injected without dilution, it causes thrombophlebitis. And the contraindications, in neurological diseases and blood discharges, we should not use metronidazole. Even in chronic alcoholism or in the first trimester of pregnancy, we should not use metronidazole. And we should use interaction with alcohol, it produces disulfiram-like intolerance. And already uses we have studied. And in uses for amoebiasis, invasive intestinal dysentery and liver abscesses, we use 800 mg TDS for 8 days, and mild intestinal amoebiasis 400 mg TDS for 7 days. And for Trichomonas vaginitis, we should use 400 mg TDS for 7 days. And pseudomembranous enterocolitis caused by Clostridium difficile, we should use 500 mg TDS. And ulcerative gingivitis, we should use 200 mg to 400 mg TDS along with penicillin or tetracycline. And in pyloric gastritis or peptic ulcer, metronidazole should be used in 400 mg TDS or tenofovir 500 mg BD along with amoxicillin or clarithromycin and a proton pump inhibitor like omeprazole for 2 weeks. Guinea worm infections, we should use 400 mg TDS for 7 days. And nursing implications, what we should do? We should ask the patient to take an empty stomach if possible. May take with food if nauseated. We should teach not to apply cologne, aftershave lotion, or bath splashes, or ingest alcohol products to avoid a disulfiram type of reaction. Example: flushing, nausea, vomiting, palpitations, tachycardia, and psychosis may occur. And mothers, they should wait until 3 days after last dose of drug to resume breastfeeding. And we should teach the patient that harmless darkening of urine may occur. And coming to the next topic, antihelminthics. Antihelminthics are the drug that kills worms, means vermicide, or expels, means moves out of the body, vermifuge, infesting helminths. So the classification of antihelminthic drugs are benzimidazole derivatives, means which are polymerization inhibitors. Examples are mebendazole, albendazole, thiabendazole. Depolarizing worms like parental palmoate, hyperpolarizing the worms, piperazine, diethyl carbazine citrate, and paralyzing the worms, levamisole, tetramycin, ivermectin, praziquantel, and niclosamide. So these are the antihelminthics. And the uses and the doses of antihelminthics are: for roundworms, Ascaris lumbricoides, hookworm, threadworm infections, we use mebendazole 400 mg. Stat stat means urgent or in rush. Albendazole at 400 mg stat, parental at 250 mg stat. For strongyloids stercularis infection, we should use ivermectin 3 mg tabs, albendazole 400 mg OD tab for 3 days. Whipworm and Trichinella spiralis, we should use mebendazole. Filaria and Wuchereria branchofti, we should use diethyl carbamazine citrate 1 mg per kg daily for 3 days, then increase it to 6 mg per kg for 3 weeks. Ivermectin and albendazole can also be used for Filaria or Wuchereria branchofti. Guinea worm, for that we should use metronidazole and thiabendazole. For tapeworm, we should use praziquantel and niclosamide. Hereditary disease, we should use albendazole 400 mg with meals for 28 days up to 3 cycles with a gap of 14 days. And albendazole and its mechanism of action is it inhibits the tubular polymerization, which results in the loss of cytoplasmic microtubules, which results in the damage to its tubular polymerization, which damage to its cell wall. And adverse effects like nausea, vomiting, epigastric distress, abnormal LFTs, liver function tests, and reversible alopecia. These are the adverse effects for albendazole. Contraindications: they are not used in hypersensitivity and pregnancy. Drug interactions: praziquantel, the efficacy in praziquantel, the efficacy of albendazole is enhanced, and with cimetidine, albendazole sulfoxide concentration in bile and cystic fluid increases twofold in hiatic diseases. Indications: single or mixed intestinal parasites like roundworms, fibworms, threadworms, hookworms, tapeworms, and strongyloids stercularis, hydatidis, giardia infections, and neurocysticercosis. With all these, we have completed anti-amoebic drugs and anti-helminthic drugs.